A friend of ours who's been on the program a number of times before, Mr. Josh Klenert, a gentleman that's been involved in the design world for, well, I mean, I think he would admit to this for a number of years. But he told me that a cover of Billboard magazine caught his eye, and the title was AI of the Beholder. Little play on words there. And someone commented on this and said, I cannot think of anything more sad and lame than willingly listening to AI generated music. So Josh, being the man that he is, said, okay, I've got to do something about this, and I've got to talk to Norman and have my pals, Dave Robinson and Jeremy LaCroix, to talk about AI and the band that they have. Three longtime creative guys who've been involved in music, media, design, and tech. Now they're part of an AI group, or are they? Or is this just a big old ruse? I'm not sure, but let's talk to these guys. I'm going to pick you out one by one. So, Jeremy, welcome to Life Elsewhere.
Thank you, Norman. It's great to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And David, let's say hi to you. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. It's great to see you and meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. And of course, Josh, it's always nice to see you, my friend. How are you doing?
Good. Great to be back.
Thank you for the email and thank you for the idea. And this all comes together with something that you and I have talked about before about your band, The Layoffs. And the big question, of course, is this a band or isn't it? Or what? So let's go through this. I'm going to go to you first, Josh, and try to explain to us what exactly are we talking about when we mention the layoffs and AI?
Well, it's a very good question. I think there's probably not a day that goes by without AI being in the headlines. And a whole 3 years ago, um, Jeremy, D. Rob, and I had a bit of a text string going back and forth talking about how the tech world was turning upside down with layoffs. And I think a little bit like fog of war, we all probably have three different versions of how we started this band. But we saw an article in the New York Times that talked about getting laid off in your living room and not having anyone to commiserate over that with a beer. And back in the day, when before work from home, everyone got to go down to Central Bar and have a drink after being laid off and get to commiserate. Whereas being laid off in your living room and not having anyone to commiserate sounded like a country song. And this was way back in the early days of AI with early versions of ChatGPT. And one of us said, "Oh my God, this would be an amazing country song." And before you knew it, we were playing instruments, we were writing lyrics, we were using AI to enhance our speed to get to production. And being three people in tech who were, leading big design teams, leading transformation, this was an outlet for us to just have fun and fuck
Yes.
around.
Yes.
And we made a promise to ourselves that we would produce an album in under 50 days.
Thank you for
And
that
that was
explanation.
powering down.
Yeah, thank you for that explanation, Josh. I'm going to go to Jeremy. Jeremy, getting together with these other two gentlemen, uh, I'm choosing my words
You
kindly.
can call us a throuple. You can call us a throuple. It's okay.
So this on the surface seems like a fun idea in it, but there's something quite subversive about this whole idea as well. Being that you three men have been involved in tech and are involved in tech and have seen the changes. I'm just going to throw something in here which will help a little bit. Josh and I have talked about this before about I grew up in London and went to art school in London to become a graphic designer. But that was back in the day when Letraset, do you remember Letraset? That was when Letraset was
Yes.
how you did. Anyway, so you guys know what I'm talking about. So that goes back a long way. So for somebody like me that grew up back when we used paste to paste down artwork, it's so weird when I think about what we can do now. I can sit in front of my computer right now with Adobe Creative Suite and do all kinds of things I could never imagine doing So talk to me, Jeremy, about just how AI for you getting involved in this band, but how AI has really just become such a huge, huge thing, which I'm not sure that I even understand. And I'm wondering, do you?
Well, I think it's a sea change, right? And we knew that in 2023. We've all been in tech for decades. So we
Yeah.
knew when this hit the scene, this was a fundamentally different type of technology that could unlock different things for us. So we immediately set out to test it and stress test it by writing songs and say, hey, could we do this album thing? Could we write songs? So we make videos
Yes.
using AI that normally would have taken a shop or you would have had to outsource or come up with some kind of funding to produce. And we could do it at cost effectively and amongst ourselves without outsourcing or having to go to a recording studio to do it. So we saw the potential in that. And I want to sneak in a response to your question earlier
Yeah.
about are we in a band? And my question would be, what is a band?
Yes. Good. Yes. That's a good rhetorical question. Yes. Yes. So, David, I'm going to go to you now, and it sort of follows on from what Jeremy just said, and it's really understanding what I mean. I think we use the phrase or the two word or AI. It's bandied about, but you know what? I get the feeling, David, that a lot of people just see this and are not really sure what it means. Do we have a definition? Do we have really have a definition of what AI actually means?
I think that I think we're all learning what it means because I don't think we all know what it means. So we build AI models on top of large language sets, right? And we say this is what we can do, and we're going to update our language model, and we're going to release a point version of it, kind of old school the way Adobe used to have Adobe Illustrator 9.8, Adobe Illustrator 9.9. Like that's where the AI world is right now. They're at the very beginning stages of it. It's super powerful. I use it every day. It's injected into my workflow. We used to be a Adobe first design team, then we were a Sketch first design team, then we were a Figma first design team. Now we're a Claude and Cursor first design team. That's where we start. And it's a completely different way of working, and it's completely accelerated the development cycle for designers and given us a whole new set of tools and a whole new way of looking at the world. And it's just incredible. So like me as a designer, when I do IC work, which is not often, unfortunately, but when I get to do IC work, I design in a completely different way and a completely different mindset. And I can make shit that I've never been able to make in my entire life. This weekend with my brother on the side, we developed a hardcore enterprise grade version of a warehouse management software system that he would have had to pay $2,000 a month for. We just did it in the weekend using Claude and Cursor. And,
Yes.
and it's fully functional, it's housed, it's deployed, and he's managing his inventory for his power sharing company with it, like his hardware inventory with it. And we did it on the
Yes.
weekend.
Yeah. It's
But to
Crazy.
bring it back to your earlier question, Norman, this is all brand new and is changing every month, every year. What we did 3 years ago when we started the band is completely different than
Yeah.
what we do now.
Yeah.
And by the way, we've been through this before. When Photoshop 1.0 came out back in
Yep.
the 90s, and we were just
yes.
learning that, there were a lot of photographers who were not happy with this whole digital photography process. So it's a journey.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that I had my old fashioned, when I say old fashioned, I still love it, my original Nikon. And I remember somebody saying to me, "Oh, you've got to try this digital Nikon. I've got a new digital version." And I was like, "Oh, what? Digital?" I mean, it was almost a nasty word at one time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now we just take it for granted.
And I think that's what Billboard is clutching its pearls about on the cover
Yes.
of the magazine.
And it's interesting that they had that headline that you picked up on it, and here you are as a band, a three-piece band. Let's just go back for a moment and talk about how you got this together and how you got these other two gentlemen together. Because just in looking at you, I get the feeling that just being around you three, having maybe a glass of something or other, probably, I'm not going to say goes off the rails, but I'm just getting the idea that a lot of great conversation goes on. So, talk to me about just the first days of putting this band together.
Well, Josh gave the explanation about the layoffs and how that sort of he sees the way that started. For
Yes.
me, it didn't really click until one night we were having whiskey and cigars over Zoom because we all live in different parts of the world.
Yes. Great
We were
idea.
having whiskey and cigars over Zoom, and I forget if it was you, Josh, or me. But I think it was me. And I don't really remember, but somebody put into ChatGPT, "Hey, tell me a story about how it's going with Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter." And the response came back, and in the response came back, I think somebody called him a space Karen. And I thought,
Yeah, that's
space
right.
Karen.
Yes.
Like because he's yelling at everybody all the time, and he's Elon Musk. And so I think I put into ChatGPT, or maybe it was you, Josh or Jerry. Somebody put it in ChatGPT and said, "Write me lyrics to a song called Space Karen," and it wrote Space Karen, the lyrics to Space Karen. And then I read them, or somebody read them. I'm like, I don't know, whatever. And somebody read them, and we were like, "Holy shit, that's hilarious!" And I was like, they're kind of funny, but not kind of accurate. So we printed them out and rewrote them a little bit. But
Yeah.
it wrote us lyrics to the song in 10 seconds flat, and we basically had the structure to a song. So he took Josh's idea about getting laid off in the living room and Space Karen, and then I think it was Josh said, "We need to start a band, man."
That I love it. So in a very short time, you guys have been into the studio, put album tracks down, made 3 albums. It seems like you're very, very busy on top of all the other things that you do. How does that work?
Spare time.
Jeremy,
Nights and weekends.
Jeremy doesn't sleep a lot.
Nights and weekends.
Nights and weekends.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So here you are as guys that play instruments, but you are also using AI in making the music. So, as an audience, am I supposed to understand which is AI and which is organic?
I would say no. I mean, if you D-Rob and I have both been in bands going back to the early 90s, so we have made albums, we've played instruments, we sing. It's a combination. The first album was more playing all the instruments and using AI to kind of come up with the structure of songs and then kind of cutting videos very manually. Just like we had planned, like we experimented in 2023, we were able to make songs and videos. We made 9 songs of a record and 9 videos, I think in total 70 days, but it was 50 days to the record. Then we got the videos done. And then as we progress up till our last one, Job Huggin', we just released, and that has us all lip syncing all the way through the video. This was not possible it's barely possible now to get it really consistent for 3 minutes, but it was not even possible 3 years ago. So we keep changing as the technology progresses.
And
Yes.
the techniques can change too. Like
Yeah.
when I start to write a song, I have like guitars and I play the guitar and the bass and all that stuff. And so what I do is I plug my guitar, my bass into my computer, and I just play it and I record it, and using GarageBand, apps like that. And then every once in a while I'll come up with a riff and I'll be like, "Oh, that's a cool riff," and I'll record the riff and I'll turn it into like a sample.
Yes.
And then I'll come up with an accompanying riff and I'll turn it into a sample. And then I'll put it in GarageBand in the structure of a song, verse, verse, chorus, pre-chorus, chorus kind of thing. And I'll get it all structured in there, just like on the guitar or on the bass. And then I'll put in some magic drums into it, drums that follow that. And I'll put in a tempo, and I'll record a guitar over top of it. And then I'll put it through another machine, and I'll duplicate the track. Like it just depends on how it works. But the drums really work really well with the AI layer, things like that.
So
So,
I got a text message from a retired coworker of ours from our Huffington Post and AOL days, and he said, "I don't know what I do all day, but it takes all day to do it." And I screenshotted that and sent it to D-Rob, and within minutes he was jamming, and that is track 5 on Powering Down.
Yeah, I wrote that riff, and I was like, and then you texted me that thing. I'm like, that's the lyric for that riff. That's
Yeah.
so I
It's
have
a-
to I have to ask you, gentlemen, this question, which I know I've got people that are going to be listening that are go, "This is all very well, but you're killing real music." Now, personally, I think that's nuts. I just think because I love all kinds of music, and I think the innovation that people have with AI and just well, when computers started to being involved in music, to me, it's fantastic. But what's the basic answer when you have like hardcore musicians that go, "Oh, this is not good. This is terrible. You're ruining real music." I'll go to David for this one.
bullshit. Like, so people have been doing this forever.
Yeah.
This is just a new technique and a new way of doing it, right? Like, remember when um, rap was got huge and rappers were sampling other people's music and all that kind of stuff? Like, it's been happening in some form, or way, shape, or another, like forever. So I don't. It's a thing, but it's not a thing. I mean, it's the same thing as moving from analog cameras to digital cameras. Like, it's the same sort of metaphor.
Well,
And
this is gonna date me, but I was at the Albert Hall when Dylan went electric. So
Mm.
that that was considered to be so revolutionary. People were just like screaming and hollering, "How dare you do this? How dare you
yeah,
amplify your guitar?"
yeah.
So Jeremy, being somebody that's had roots in rock music, etc. The music that's happening these days, there's such a lot of great music coming out. There's such a lot of, I think, innovative music. Yet there is still a kind of a sort of what we call rock and roll, I guess. Everybody's got their own idea what this means. But do you think that AI is now bringing us into an area that we haven't really discovered what it is yet? I mean, we use the name rock and roll, we use indie, we use alternative, a dream pop or whatever. But is AI going to bring us another genre?
I think it could. And I think if you go back to the big band era, right, and then you go to rock and roll, and then you splinter, you had album-oriented rock, where everybody was kind of listening to radio stations and hearing the same music. And then you have the internet, right? And you have digital music, which started to splinter. Now everybody can hear whatever they want. It's like splintered off into all these different factions of types of music and all these subgenres of music. So absolutely, there's going to be new sounds coming out of that. Every time there's new tools introduced, there's new possibilities.
Yeah,
And
good.
certainly, as a whether you're a designer, a musician, a photographer, a filmmaker, AI is based on pre-existing content. So if you only strictly use AI for your designs, you're pretty much going to get largely what already exists. So you have to still bring your own level of creativity as a UX designer, as a musician. It's not a one and done. You don't hit F1 and get a song.
Yes. That's so important because I do know that a lot of people now these days with Wix and things like that, they think all of a sudden they could become a graphic designer and design their own great website. Well, that's just not true. And it's still, you've got to have the creative talent to do it. There is a photograph on your site that purports to be a photograph of you three. Of course, it's completely lunatic. Um, I want one of you to explain that it's to us. Not. Okay, Josh, who are we looking at there and what's that about?
It could be our personas. It could be
Yes.
our inner personalities. Again, when we started this up in the early days, we all were working leading design teams in big tech companies, and this became a creative output
Yeah,
area for us. Just go fast and have fun.
yeah.
And I think it was the early days where everyone was sharing pictures that it would turn them into different personalities like fantasy or cartoons or anime. So again, we were just trying to experiment with these tools because it's important for us in our careers to stay up on top of technology. So we came up with our first three photos. We're like, great, that's the band cover, done. And again, because AI just takes in what you give it, it's been a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy for all these album covers. So we're always a little bit surprised at our latest photo shoot or AI
Yes.
experience, but it's always fun.
I
Now,
had a funny moment where I got some feedback that my avatar was too smug in that video.
too
So my
smug.
avatar has issues. That's a whole new concept.
Let's talk about the branding and the visuals because this is a whole part of what you guys are doing with the layoffs. And I'm just wondering when we now look at what's going on in the big wide world out there, not just with music, but with everything. I mean, for instance, I mentioned to all three of you, I was before we just started this Zoom conversation, I was witnessing a I don't even know what to call it. And I think I use some language that I can't probably use on some of our stations. But I was watching the president give a news conference or meeting or something, and visuals are so important no matter what it is, whether you're a politician, a musician. But has AI or will AI now, and it already is because now because I'm talking over myself now. But when I go onto some social media, I have to remind myself, am I looking at reality or am I looking at AI? I just want to get your thoughts, David, on or Josh or Jerry on whether we have to be very careful about the branding that is using AI. How do we discriminate about what's real and what's not?
That's a good question. I think that some like in social, if we're talking about social media circles right now, some social media circles are asking you to self-identify as AI. Like if I'm uploading something to social media, they're like, "Is this AI?" And you can either say yes or no or not answer the question. I think that there's going to be tools introduced by social media and other places, probably not because they want to, but because they're forced to, that analyze files that go up on the internet and classify them as AI or not. Like, and
Yes.
I don't think it's gonna be totally optional in the future. I think it's just gonna be a thing. But I also think that AI is going to eventually just be accepted as legitimate content by people in the future. Even though right now there's some backlash on AI, and they've coined this term AI slop, right? Like, and that's inherently negative towards AI. But I think that and I understand the backlash against AI, and I think it's, there needs to be some measure of something somehow. Um, but yeah, I don't really know how to answer that question. I think it's a really good question that I don't know if
Yes.
it can be answered right
It's
now.
certainly democratized a lot of these tools. Again, it's taste level, it's
Yeah.
editorial choices and decisions. What used to be able to be done on a Time magazine cover can now be done by someone in 2 minutes on a computer. It doesn't mean the quality is there or the editorial integrity is there. So you always have to kind of think twice about it. And in the social media space, there's the difference between sort of the memes and stuff that's inherently an illustration versus things that are trying to be perceived as real, like showing war footage and trying to say that that is real, actual news footage. There's definitely a line that needs to be kept between the two.
Do all three of you remember, and I think it was Time magazine, had the photograph of O.J. Simpson, and it had
Yeah.
been somewhat, yes, you're nodding, so you
Yeah.
remember. And it was a
Oh,
big
yeah.
criticism that it was a manipulated. Um, are we now in a situation where we can manipulate, yet at the same time, we can just sort of stand back and go, oh, that's just the way it is. I mean, almost pretending, hiding behind what AI is capable of doing.
Jeremy, you got
Well,
some thoughts on that?
well, I'm still stuck on like as far as AI being a legitimate art form, or what's the output? If the output makes you feel something and it makes you experience something new and you feel good, then it's
Yeah.
legitimate. It
Yes.
doesn't matter how you got there. The outcome is the outcome, and if it speaks to you, it speaks to you. It's just another way to create. Now, if you're doing what Josh talked about and you're trying to manipulate somebody's information to make them vote a certain way or to do other things, that's a whole different thing. But
Right.
if we're talking about just entertainment and sharing ideas and cultural expansion through AI mean, it gives some people who never had a chance to create anything a chance to emote in a whole different way. People like us, we're going to create all the time anyway. We're just using new tools. But now there's a whole group of people who can jump in and do things they were never able to do before. And that's super exciting. So there's going to be more out there, and there's going to be more people connecting with each other, I think.
I mean, imagine a young Steven Spielberg who is shooting, little toys like Jeremy shoots photography back in the day, having tools like this. Like, it's going
Mm.
to encourage a whole new generation of filmmakers to create differently, think differently, tell different stories. I think it's just as long as you don't cross that line, you mentioned the Time cover,
Yeah.
like that was inherently, I think people perceived it as a photograph and it was meant to be a photo illustration. And it sort of, I think it
Yeah.
was around that time that I coined that term that you could have a photo illustration.
Yes.
So we're just in that new area where we're learning, like D-Rob said, between what is completely AI created versus what is maybe a combination.
I mean, the
But
first
it
thing
made Avatar in
manipulated,
3 days instead of 3 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you
Yes.
go way back, the first thing manipulated was words. First they put out words and you could print. You had the printing press and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden people started, yellow journalism came in and all this stuff, which caused wars, right? There's all kinds of manipulation that's gone on through history.
The
Yes. David, you
Bible.
wanted to say something, I think. Yeah.
No, I said they could have made Avatar in 3 days instead of 3 years.
Yes. So let's get back to talking about the layoffs, gentlemen. In some respects, we've already touched upon the future of AI, but let's talk about what you guys perceive as the future for the layoffs. And I'm thinking that in a very short period of time, even if it's at the weekends or evenings, you've made 3 albums, you're making videos, you're doing all kinds of things. So what's next for the layoffs?
Well, I think if you saw Job hugging the video, you'd know that we're now in a middle-aged boy band. That's our next phase. So we have the ability to morph because we're not tethered to reality. So we can keep shape-shifting
I
in
see.
learning.
I see. Okay, so
Didn't you want to quote Bullet there, Jeremy?
Quote who?
Bullet?
Oh, oh wait, the time is now.
Okay,
The
yeah.
time is now. The future is now.
Yeah, the future is now. What's going to happen to us in the future? At the end of Bullet, she's in Steve McQueen's hands on the 101 highway, and she looks at Steve McQueen and she's fearful, and she says, "Oh, what is going to become of us?" And he said, "The future is
Future
now."
is
And that's
now.
his answer to her, which I don't think was very comforting. But that's how we see the future.
Yes, which leads me, of course, to ask you, as an AI band, and we've got to keep using that. Are
The
there
world's
plans?
first, according to
The
Jeremy.
world's the
Yeah, the
world's
world's
first.
first. We were before sundown, and we challenged them to a rodeo or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So that then leads to: are you guys going to perform live, or will it be AI?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
more like the gorillas, kind of
Yes,
something like the
yes. Could
gorillas.
it
Yeah.
be like the gorillas, or could it be that you actually would be? I mean, give me sort of an idea of where you see things going. I mean, from an AI point of view, and from your own ideas about what you see as 3 guys playing as a band.
So we can do some of the songs. I mean, so especially the first album was very manual. And we still like one of the things that's cool is some of our songs have heavy on AI, some are heavy manual, and there's a mix in between how we got there. So we can play some of these songs. D Rob and I have played together before. Josh is a mean tambourine. It's mean. So he joins us sometimes.
cowbell. Cowbell.
And Josh even sang on one song. I mean, one of the fun things we did was on that first record, Josh had left me a voicemail and I held on to it for about 12 years. And he said, "Can I swear on this?"
Yes, of course. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
He just called me one day. This was many years ago. And he goes, "Dude, I'm so fucking done. Call me," and hangs up. That was the message. And I thought that was the most brilliant message I've ever heard. And I held on to it for 12 years. And then the layoffs happened. And I said, I have a piece of content I've been holding on to for 12 years. We're going to spin that into a song. So we have a song called "I'm So Fucking Done." And that stars Josh.
Well,
on the
this is interesting because now with AI and with the predecessors to AI, with digital, everything's recorded. Everything these days, this conversation we're having is being recorded. Will I take a snippet out of this in a few years' time and use it, or could you? I mean, this is
We
the
could make a
thing.
song out of this,
Make
Norman.
a song out of it, indeed. In fact, a gentleman, I was doing an interview. This is going back about 10 years. I was doing an interview with a producer in London who's very well known for making dub records, and he took a whole sentence that I said, and he basically, in quotes, dubbed it out and made a dance track out of it, and it was absolutely fantastic. So
Challenge accepted.
yes,
Yeah,
challenge
exactly.
accepted. Indeed, yes, indeed. I think what you're doing is such a fun idea, but there is also on the other side of this a very serious idea. And I know that we're all very, very smiley face. Yet at the same time, there are some sort of cautions about what is going on, not just with AI, but in the world and where AI is used. I just want very quickly from all 3 of you just to give me just some one sentence, if you can, about concerns about AI for the future. So I'm going to go to David.
My concerns are largely centered around like misinformation in politics.
Yeah.
I think it's the most dangerous thing that can happen right now. Misinformation, politics, and religion, I think are enemy number one for AI.
Yes. Yes. Jeremy.
I'm going to have to double up on that. Almost every day I do a conversation with my mother where she's asking me, "Is this real? Is that real? Is this?" And she's sending me something where she's worried about something. I said, "No, it's not real." So
Yeah.
this is a big problem.
Yes. Josh.
I'll build on that and say that I think people missing the step of creativity, like really just using your own brain, thinking about something, having fresh ideas is a critical thing I'd keep an eye out on.
Here's another quick question for all three of you. What would you like my audience and the listening audience to take away, well, listening and visual audience, if you like, take away from the layoffs? What would you like to be the big takeaway from the layoffs for the audience?
I hope it inspires them to go out and do something and use AI to create something new. It's hard to be in a band at middle age or whatever age we are. And like the reason we can do this is because of technology. Because to be in a band is very difficult to get people in the same space, practice. This is only possible because of technology. Get out there and do something.
Yes. David.
Oh,
Yeah, from takeaway from the layoffs is just fun. Just have some fun, man. It's fun.
Yeah. And Josh.
I was just gonna say, bring a smile to your face.
Bring a
Enjoy
smile
it.
to your face. Okay, I've got to before we quickly we go. I've got to say that looking at all three of you, there's some interesting visuals. Josh has got some of his awards behind him. David has got a very interesting guitar in the back there. David, wait, can you give us just a little idea of what I'm looking at? Because I don't recognize it.
It's a Music Man based guitar.
It's a Music Man bass guitar. It's very beautiful. It's quite lovely. And
It is nice.
I should let everybody know that David is wearing a Toronto Maple Leafs hat, which my son, who's a big Lightning fan, is probably going to be a little curious about that. And Jeremy, I can't really see what's in the background of you, my friend. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Just give us a sort of an inkling of what we're looking at.
I'm in a music room, so this is where I create music. Everything in here has to do with music, music I've been involved in, music I want to make. So this is where I come and hide out from the world and make music.
Excellent. I've been talking to Dave Robinson, D-Rob, Jeremy LaCroix, Jerry Business, and Josh Klenert, the three gentlemen who are the layoffs. And thank you so much for the balloons there. I see that. Yeah, great. Nice stuff. I love it. All right. Thank you to the layoffs. I really appreciate you joining us at Life Elsewhere. Thank you.
We be job hugging, just trying to survive. Got golden handcuffs on and the markets are slow. Too scared to jump. We be job hugging, holding on tight.